Good morning. I'm not a morning person, so I have to say this. So thank you for having me. It's the first time here. I'm from Romania, your neighbor from the south. It's my first time here. So yeah, I'm here to talk about Facebook because, yeah, as Moore said, we are using a lot of buzzwords and we're obsessed with civic tech and everybody wants to develop this new tool and the other tool. But I mean, we're forgetting that probably 80% of us are just stuck on Facebook. I don't know if it's the same in Ukraine like in Romania, but in Romania we're very obsessed with Facebook. Politicians break news on Facebook. Everybody has a lot of Facebook addiction, and I think we actually need to talk about our Facebook diet. If we talk about our food intake, why not talk about our media consumption? But let's go forward. It's always good to remind ourselves that we actually don't have a profile on Facebook, but Facebook has a profile on us. I love this this saying because, yeah, we're not paying for the service, so this is the price we pay for, yeah, the service being free. Okay, so 10 years ago, I was, or 12 years ago, I was an online enthusiast. It was the age of startups, reading the TechCrunch blogs and thinking of new ideas and how to do this new product and assuming that, okay, if I'm going to do this product, then if you build it, they will come. It's not true, as I've learned in the past 10 years, and I think we should be more open-minded because we always like to think of ourselves as being open-minded and tolerant and open to new ideas, but the truth is that we might be making big errors. So Romania was, if you remember, back in the 90s, we had a bloody revolution. We killed Ceausescu on Christmas Day, actually. Well, yeah. And then we had violent street movements with the miners who came and kicked and beat and killed protesters in the street. Then there was silence for a couple of years. The only movements in the streets were the ones organized by trade unions, which were kind of in cahoots with the politicians, so they weren't really authentic. But lately what's happening is that Romania is moving from this civic apathy towards this new civic fitness. They're rediscovering the civic appetite. So I'm going to use what happened in the past 5 years as a small case study, and probably it will ring a bell to you as well, because, yeah, I know you are using Facebook as well and social media in Ukraine, but okay, so first of all, it's important to understand that Facebook is a media thing, right? So Romania is very media addicted, and the things are split half in half. Half of the population are watching TV and the so-called news stations, which, yeah, they broadcast probably 1 or 2 hours of news, but then it's kind of fake news. And the other half is stuck on Facebook and debating. And we'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. But first, just a small, oh, sorry. I think I went too fast. So this is a small evolution of the protests we had. It started out in 2012 with some very confused movements. People were out in the street, but everybody was protesting for something. It was very confusing. Then in 2013, there were more people because well, if maybe you know Roșia Montană, we'll talk about more of it later. Then we had the 2014 presidential elections, and there was some chaos in the voting area. And then we had the big fire in the club, which killed a lot of people, and more people in the street. And this year we had a record number of more than 500,000 people in the street, which is actually larger than the revolution in '89. So what happened? Why are Romanians protesting, and what's going on there, and how does Facebook come into play? Yeah, the 2012 ones were the first ones. They were a bit violent in the beginning, but afterwards we calmed ourselves, and all the protests were very, very peaceful, I would say. I'm going to talk about this one because I was very involved in this one, and I was basically my day was wake up, drink a tea, stay on Facebook like non-stop, then go out in the street, then come back home and stay on Facebook again. What happened is that we founded this Facebook page called Unit Salvăm, United We Save, together with some friends, and we were trying to approach it like scientifically, because I come from the communication department, right? That's what I do. I treat it like not like oh, everybody wants to be on Facebook, let's do something on Facebook. No, let's use Facebook as at its best. So what we did is we did a lot of flash mobs because there was a lot of media blockage. In that, I mean, they were actually not broadcasting protests. So protesters started marching towards the city to spread the word from one to another, so people could see us from the windows while we were passing the street. We did some Occupy movements to the Ombudsman. We did a remembering, which was good for media to come and take pictures. The idea was to be in the public eye, to be there, to always get something new, because this is also what's happening on Facebook. You always want something new, and there is a very short attention span. Okay. Yeah, people even sang in the streets a classical concert. We occupied the streets with a lot of eye candy images so people could share them. Very emotional, right? The love quotient. The protest was very kid-friendly. We went to the subway. Yeah, actually, that's me there doing a live stream before the era of Facebook Live, because again there was a media blockage. I'm focusing a bit more on this one because you will see why. We actually did some grandiose stuff as well. That's the big-ass building we have in Bucharest, one of the biggest in the world, and we tried to challenge people to circle it. So how many people would it take to form a human chain around this Palace of Parliament? That's the headquarters of the Parliament in Bucharest. And we did it, and it was a good media coverage as well. Because, yeah, we were very good on Facebook, but our purpose was to get our message across also the TV stations. As I said, the media landscape is half and half. So we did that, but we always had to do stuff, always had to bring something new, always replenish the water. We also did a kind of choreography and formed the logo of the campaign in front of the government. Engagement, engagement, engagement. So this is more like a PR approach on Facebook, basically. You organize events, right? How can I advance to the next one? Maybe it's not working. Ah, okay. Yeah, it was very posh and very hipster, the protest, but not only because it spun off into a protest in a rural area as well, to a connected cause with the fracking. And there was also a solidarity movement, so we will see why that's important. What I'm trying to say is that you gotta have a good team. It's essential to what you're doing. And luckily, when the stars align, you can have some success, because otherwise the Facebook beast will just eat you alive. So basically we had more people in the team than you can see in this picture, and everybody was good at something in terms of communication area. So we were kind of like a small advertising agency, but for civic causes, and it was a good fun, and we worked a lot, but there was also something nasty, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So the good was that we had record-breaking numbers, right? And we actually had political impact. That protest actually succeeded, but it took 7 months to repeal the law that got people in the street in the first place. The bad, as you may know, is that decision-making is so slow on Facebook, and it can be so tiresome, and it can actually kill the, I don't know, emotion and the heart of the protest. At least for me, I don't know, for you. Okay, so why it's important is because working together builds trust. I mean, if I just see your name on Facebook, yeah, you're just a person, I see your updates constantly, but if I work with you and if I create a context in which we can work together as volunteers for a cause, then we can actually build trust, because we're disconnected. But yeah, it's very good to use this network effect of Facebook. And some people actually got inspired. So Florina, she was an NGO folk like us, but now she's a member of the parliament, because she realized that it's not only enough to stay in this civic sphere. So she went into politics. That's really good. Okay, so next we had the 2015 protest. Don't worry, I will pass shortly through it. Yeah, people are still waiting for a change, as you can see. Oh, I forgot about 2014. If you remember this guy, Vlad, he was also in the picture with the team. Then he teamed up with the Liberal Party, and this is the candidate of the Liberal Party who eventually won the elections. And they actually got really good at Facebook. So as you can see from this media screenshot, he was the most popular European on Facebook, whatever that means. But yeah, so Facebook played a really important role in the 2014 elections, because the Romanians in the diaspora, they couldn't vote because of the bad organizing of the Ministry of External Affairs. And basically they were posting constant updates and enraging people from the country, and in turn mobilizing other people to vote. So he was not the favorite, but he won narrowly. And Facebook played a great role. So yeah, what we do at Funky Citizens, and I'm going to go really fast through this, is that timing matters a lot. In Facebook you have to be very agile, like quick draw, muck draw. Just post it and go for it. This is a unique moment when we actually crashed Google Docs. I couldn't find a screenshot, but the file was too popular right now, so we put up this file, and yeah. Okay, so now 2017, lots of people in the street, but people have weird expectations. They expect things to happen like on Facebook, right? So you click a button and you have instant gratification. You go out and protest and you have instant change. And of course, this is not going to happen, and it takes a long, long time for change to actually come. What we do and what we use Facebook for is we try to use the expertise that we have from our experts in public administration, but also the guys from the communication department, which is me and my colleague, and try to actually build a community of people who are interested in this kind of hardcore topics, which are not ladies posting selfies with themselves or funny dogs and cats. And we're getting quite successful. I'll just go faster over this. Yeah, we had some success with the 2017 protests, but what now? You know. Okay, so this is where we are. I mean, we are always in between the state and the citizens, because we can speak both languages and we can try to translate and provide some kind of equilibrium for the two, right? Because everybody's very mad at the government all the time, but you gotta have some empathy, right? So, this is basic stuff. We know that Facebook is important, but we don't really get to the details. So, before the protest, people are kind of disconnected, but during the protest, they come together, and Facebook has a really, really good way of doing it. It's natural. It's like the fish in the water. Again, another example which we do in Romania with our fact-checking website is that we can actually spread factual information on Facebook quite easily. In times of protest, people are hungry for correct and factual information, so use Facebook for that. You gotta have an open mind, as I say, and not be a chicken without a head. So, of course, I'm also very pretentious on how to do communication, but sometimes my colleagues just convince me that a simple video using the smartphone camera is just enough, and this was quite a cool post with a big reach when we released some product that we did. What's interesting, and I can see a pattern in each and every one of the protests, is that after people go home and the protest is over, some people stick together. After each protest, there is an informal group, and the groups keep getting bigger, right? So, which is nice, and they work together. They do stuff. They're not only weekend activists. The bad part, as I said, people expect instant change, and this is not going to happen. Facebook is very good to get you up to a certain point, but then people will just turn their attention onto the next big thing, the next hot topic. So how do you take these people and do something with them, and how do you harness their energy like a fire, right? So Facebook is quite consumes itself really fast. I've talked about this, yeah, and of course people prefer to talk more than building on Facebook, because that's what I do. It's a social media, right? Also the governments are very good at using media tactics as well, so we're not alone. We're not the masters of Facebook. They know what's going on, and they have people, and they have more resources, they have more money, more time, so they can spin our stories around. So you have to, it's very time consuming actually. Of course, it's hard to compete with the normal flow of Facebook. There are bubbles, right? There is collectivism, there is slacktivism. We know about the protest fatigue in Romania, that it's happening right now. I mean, it's like a conditioned reflex, right? Some shit goes on in the public sphere. We go out and protest, and I mean, it's Pavlov style. And people are wondering, is it any good? Are we doing any good? And as I said, Facebook is a very good starting point, but it's not the end goal, it's just a starting point, and we need to have a strategy and think in the long term, like a marathon, not a sprint, okay? Oh, the lovely echo chamber effect, which I'm very, very tired of. Basically, because of the algorithm, we're stuck in these echo chambers, and we kind of fail to see the other bubbles of people. So that's why sometimes it might be useful to explore other areas, and I don't know, people who like the other football team that you like, or the other political party, who knows what their opinion is. Okay, I'm running out of time, so I'm just going to get to the ugly, because Facebook is an energy vampire. It sucks all your energy. In 2014, I was burned out. I was disconnecting my Facebook account, deactivating it, and going to the seaside to relax, because I kind of OD'd on Facebook. I had an overdose, right? So be careful and take some breaks to replenish your energy. And yeah, after a while, you kind of tend to lose your enthusiasm. So this is why breaks are also important, because So bubble isolation, as I said. Also, people tend to get very radical on Facebook, so be careful how you manage the discourse. And the ugliest part is that, I mean, Facebook is not the solution to all problems, right? I don't have a conclusion, I just have a Facebook profile and some pages, but Facebook cannot really help solve systemic problems. The health system will still be fucked, the corruption will still be there. You can only try to aggregate people on Facebook, but it's really good, so, you know, have a stamina and have faith in it, and my time is up, so thank you.